Hello, welcome to DeWitt 3D on this magnificent Sunday evening. Think it, make it. Haha. Anyways, I want to thank everybody for joining me tonight. Let's see, who do we have on chat? I just lost a window. That is not good. That's the one I want there. There we are. So far, I see we have Tripod's Garage, Ethan's dad, non-fam. Oh, I get a sneeze, guys. Oh, excuse me, that was probably a bit loud too. My apologies for anybody wearing headphones. 3D Print Viking, hello, and Dixon Hoffman. Hey, thank you, Dixon. Welcome to the channel. Thank you, guys. Wow, what a busy day of streaming it's been. I was on the First Layer channel today, and then I was on Jerry's stream for a little bit at the beginning, and I had to take a bit of a break. Came back on Jerry's stream. It's been a great day of streaming. SPC 3D, hello, how are you? Welcome, welcome. Thank you, Tripod's Garage. That's the one thing about live, is I can't edit out the sneeze, can I? No. So tonight, I'm going to do something I wasn't going to do for a while, but I thought, what the heck, I'm going to unbox the, down, and you can see right in the corner, right here, hard to do this with the camera, my LD-002H Creality Resin printer. Paul, hey Paul, how are you? Yes, yeah, it has been a busy day, busy weekend actually overall. So without any further ado, because I really, I'm not uncomfortable doing the resin. Ooh, my glasses look crooked on here. I'm not uncomfortable doing the resin, but I'm a little nervous doing the resin. I touched into resin earlier. I had an older version of the printer. Ended up sending it back because number one, I made a mess of it. Number two, they came out with this printer, which was the mono version, with a little higher resolution, little bigger screen, little bigger build volume for a lower price. So I took advantage of the fact that I was able to return my LD-002R, and I picked up the LD-002H. 2K mono resin, or 2K mono screen apparently is going to be a little quicker. Yeah, Maker Viking, hello, thank you, welcome, thanks for popping in. Yeah, so let's just get started unboxing this guy. I'm having an issue. This light above my head may go on and off. It's been sort of flickering, and it may even be better off. Let's just see. Don't know. Yeah, we'll worry about that after. So for now, I'm going to switch to my overhead camera, and we're going to unbox this guy, pull it out on the desk, and just see what's going on. There we go. So I'm going to start with cutting the bottom. The little trick I learned is I'm going to lay it down here. I'm going to slice the bottom open. And I'm brand new to resin, so let me go back here. I'm brand new to resin. I'm going to say brand new. I tried one, but I really didn't know what I was doing. I've done a little bit of research since then. Hey, 3D printing newbie Milan. Hey, how are you? Chris, hi Chris. Saw you just popped in here. Awesome, glad you guys are all here. So brand new to resin. Anybody wants to stop and chat, give me some tips. I may have some questions, especially when it comes to the slicer. I asked about the difference between Chitu box and Lychee slicer today. A lot of people said Lychee is pretty new and that Chitu box is reliable, so I decided to be a rebel and go with Lychee to try my first slice tonight. And I don't know if you can tell by looking around the studio at all if you see anybody hanging around watching me in a few places. But anyways, you can probably guess what we're going to print tonight. We're going to attempt to print. Jerry, hey, how you doing? Thank you guys for popping in. Thank you, Jerry. So let's just get this open. So especially you, Jerry, it depends how long you're on the stream. If you have any tips and tricks for me as I do this, because I am brand new to resin, it's going to be appreciated. So I'm going to open the bottom of this box, and we're going to tip it up. Let me give you the build camera view here. There we go. and we'll lift it off. There we go. And I think there's some stuff in the top here. Yep. Put the box aside, knock over my light while I do it. Power cord, which again, I always have a power cord hooked up here, so that's nothing too exciting. So let's go and see what came in this guy. Chitu box rocks. You've never tried the other one. Well, we're going to try the other one just because. That's what I downloaded, and we will see. Short assembly video. It should be. Yeah. If it goes too long, I have an issue for sure. I want to just bring in a. Let me just fix something here real quick because I feel kind of conscious about this when I'm doing my overhead camera. We're going to just add this, we're going to add this. We're going to go okay like this. Hi guys! And we're just going to bring this up in this corner here. There we go. That way I don't seem so out of the picture and like you can't see who's talking to you. So we have the brush, which I've seen in every video that they come with this brush. I guess that's for brushing off the models, cleaning it up and so forth after it's printed or after it's washed. Metal spatula for getting the model off of the print bed. Where's my overhead camera? There we are. Why is my overhead camera so far away that way? Hang on, let me move this back. That might be a little better for me. Yeah. Plastic spatula for cleaning stuff off the FEP screen. What does FEP stand for? FEP. Too much work. We'll see. We'll see. We have a couple Allen keys. It's part of the kit. See, my overhead camera is too far over this way. This way. That's okay. I can fix that. There we go. We have some funnels. And we have our USB stick. Warranty card, instructions, but really, who needs the instructions? I've watched a few videos on this, so I'm going to wing it. I'm going to be brave tonight and wing it. Let's do this. Okay, let's get this beauty beast unpacked here. Pull it out of the styrofoam. Yeah, the build should be really quick on this. And let's undo the plastic bag. Where's my handy knife? There we go. We'll just cut this right off. Nice, 15 people on the stream. That's awesome to see. Okay, we have nice solid cover with a nice QR code on the top. Anybody want to scan that? Well, I've got it here. 3, 2, no, good, too late. Okay. And we'll pull this off. Oh, and we got a build plate up top here. So I do have, let me throw this aside here. And we will go to this camera here. There we go. So here we go. So I do have, and I asked Jerry about this a little earlier, and I don't know if I want to take a chance. I do have the Creality flexible build plates here for this printer. But apparently, I thought it was just as simple as putting it on here, and when you go to level, it's going to be fine. But I was told that I need to print some sort of a spacer or something that goes down under the sensor over here. And I'm going to just do my test print tonight with just the bare build surface, because I don't want to take the time to warm up the printer, et cetera, to have to build a spacer, because that's something I'll have to work with in a future video. There we go. Okay, so we have our screen. I'm going to pull that off of the screen. And looks like we've got a linear rail. There's the Z-axis. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, so now I suppose, yeah, maybe I will read the book, because this is just so foreign to me. Where's that book I threw aside? Here we go. But I'm going to put the question out there, because I've seen a couple different ways of leveling this. So let's see what happens. Oh, the assembly's pretty simple. We're done the assembly now. That's it. Except I've got to remove that screen and take the protective coatings off of those, which is fine. But I can plug it in right now and move that gantry, that X-axis up, so I can get myself access to the screen. And I have a plug back here. I'm not maybe as detailed as some of the other guys that are doing these, but I'll do another follow-up video later. Wing it. Jerry's here. Yeah, I know. Okay. Let me see if this other camera that I have here is going to be too close for this. Let me put this lid aside for now. Oh, there's one thing I do have to do. Before I start this, I've got to, and there's a reason I'm going to do this. I got to start this printer here up and warm up the bed, because it's a little chilly in my basement here. And so it's a little chilly in my basement, and I'm told that the resin likes it warmer. And I was given a tip on as far as warming up the resin in the vat a little bit on a heat bed. So I'm going to try that. Let me just heat this bed up. No. Temperature. I don't want the nozzle heated up. And we're going to heat the bed up to, we'll go 45. No, we'll go 40, 35. There we go. We'll let that heat up. So, yeah. Now we'll see what the fumes are like down here and everything. See what happens. So let's power this guy on. I want to see if this camera is going to give you guys any decent view here. Let's just see if so you can see the screen when it comes on. Here we go. I don't know. So let's switch to this view here. And we'll power this up. Hopefully there's not too much reflection once this comes on. That's a bit. So it's pretty simple. Well, there's too much light coming in from somewhere here. That's okay. But it's a pretty simple menu. We have the tools, we have the system, and we have the print. So it is cold in this room. Yeah, that's why I'm going to use a little tip that somebody told me on a stream the other night about warming up the resin before I start the print. So I believe I need to move my axis up. So we're going to go to manual, and we're going to move the Z up, so I can get the vat out. There we go. I'm going to switch you guys to this camera again. Let's go back to this one. Yeah. Okay, so we got the Z up a bit. So we're going to take the vat out. And there is no protective cover on this. Okay. But it looks like it doesn't look like it's been used or anything. So, but we do have a protective cover on the screen. Now, according to the book, they say to level the platform with, I need my other glasses on. Yeah, I'm reading the paperwork. So, we have to unscrew the 4 screws, which I knew. Where did I put the keys? We'll put the build plate in. And then we have to loosen the 4 screws. What kind of print, how much did this cost, or what kind of use case do you plan with it? Well, it was, I'd have to double check, but I believe it was $3.29 Canadian, in around that area. Use for it, talk to me after I see if I like it. I just wanted to dip my finger into resin to try it. And I'm either going to like it or I'm not, from what I understand. So let's wait and see. Okay, now this does tell me to place a piece of paper in between, and I've seen people do it with and without paper. No, this is telling me no paper. Okay. This is telling me to level it right down to the screen. I've got to take this protector off the screen first. Come on. There we go. Now, I've heard people say that you want to put a piece of paper in there to do the leveling, and I've heard people say that you should put a piece, no paper in there with leveling. Now, the instruction manual says no paper, but every other stream I've watched or build I've watched on resin printers, regardless of the kind, have used a sheet of paper in there to do the leveling. So I will do that. Okay. Gently press the platform and tighten the 4 screws clockwise so the platform can be leveled successfully. Okay, so I have to put the sheet of paper in, which they have said not to do, but I'm going to do it anyways. Leave the film on until after I've done leveling. Okay, so I don't scratch it, but if I put a piece of paper in between, it's going to protect it. So we're going to go with that. Okay. Then we home. We are homed. Okay. Hey, Tripod's Garage. Did you just get in here? Oh, 3D Print Viking might have just got in here. I'm kind of not keeping an eye on the chat as I'm doing this, because, yeah. So we want to keep pressure, gently press the platform and tighten 4 screws. So we want to keep pressure gently on the platform and tighten the 4 screws. Okay, whoops. Yeah, I am starting with some water washable resin. That was recommended to me by my friend Richard at the first layer, so I'm going to try it and see. Okay. We're just tightening up these 4 screws for the platform. I'm gently pressing on it. Okay, there we go. Minutes before the funeral. Yeah, I'm having trouble keeping track of everybody. I don't know how the guys that have hundreds and hundreds of people in their stream do it, but they don't usually, I would imagine. That's why they have super chats, so things... Yeah, and that's just in there nice and snug. Good. Okay, so now we're going to raise this. There we go. Okay, should be level. Should be as simple as that. Okay. Okay. That's all there is to it. Wow, look at that. So let's raise this up so I can get the vat in. Actually, let me go back and check something. We have a calibrate button here too, but it didn't mention that in here. Let's just see what happens. Well, hey Dan, thanks for popping in. Oh, I see, okay. We have a clean vat button, we have a stop, we have manual up and down, and there we go. That's where we are. It almost seems too simple. Okay. So the vat has, this particular vat has lines in it for, oops, if I put it down here, actually you'll be able to see it a little better. This one has lines in it which are going to represent how much resin I have in it. I'm not sure. I believe the manual is going to tell me what each line represents. So we'll see what happens with that. Raise it much higher and test the screen UV. Okay, good. That's why you're here, Jerry. Exactly why you're here. Well, we're almost to the top. There we are. It's pretty much near the top. And test the UV screen. And I believe that is back under the tool. Tools, calibrate. No, let's see. So that started an image on here. Let's see if I can show you this, guys. So basically this is showing me, come on camera, gonna get a little closer here, there we go. So this will turn the lights on, the whole screen on. This will tell me if it's all working. I just need to do this for a short time. This is basically the clean screen operation. So we'll just do a quick look at this. Here we go. So that looks like everything is lighting up. From corner to corner, no problem. And then the calibrate. Is showing me that it's creating a pattern and that the light is basically shining where it should. Yeah, good. Good. Okay. Let's go back. Oops, I forgot that camera was still on. Sorry guys, I'm going to make you all dizzy with my camera work here, but hey. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to put some resin in the vat first, and I'm going to take that advice, I'm going to warm it up just before I run it. So I'm using the water washable LD-002H resin, and I believe this is let's just get back here. This is gray, if I'm not mistaken. Ceramic gray, water washable. How much was the printer? The printer was $3.29, I believe, Canadian. Hello, Ryan. Now, I was on one stream one time. Maybe you guys can answer this. I was told don't shake the resin. I was told roll the resin. Then I was on another stream the other day, and they said go ahead and shake it, because by the time that bed gets down to the screen, it's going to push any bubbles that are in there out of the way anyways because of the closeness to the screen. And I've been told more so to shake, shake, shake. So I'm going to shake, shake, shake and take a chance on it. So let's just do it. Worst case scenario, I have an issue. Best case scenario, it works and it's okay to shake the resin. So I want to see what this says. Recommended temperature 20 to 25, which is why I'm going to warm it up a little bit. This expires in 2021, June 2021. So I've got to use, does it really expire though? That's what I'd like to know. So we have 60-second exposure time for bottom and 8-second exposure time normal, but I've heard that on this mono printer I don't have to go that long on the exposures, so we'll see. So I do have safety items here. I've got cloth, I've got paper towel, I've got my gloves. And I have my Wham Bam. Oh, can you see the name there? I have my Wham Bam mats. So let's get a few things out of the way here. Tilt, 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 and one bottle said shake, shake, shake. Well, I'm gonna just learn this the hard way, either way. Or the easy way, we'll see how it all goes. The resin even came with a little brush of its own. So, pretty cool. I'm going to have a lot of little brushes. Let's get rid of this resin box. For now. There we go. Let's lay a mat down. Ah, the heck, we'll lay one mat down, that's fine. Let's get some gloves on before I open the bottle of resin, just to be safe. Don't eat after. Okay, don't eat the resin after. No, don't eat it or don't drink it. Okay. Take my watch off just because I don't want to get resin in my watch and jam it up. Ready. Let's switch here. Boom. Here we go. Look at that. Let's just see water. Let's just give a little test. I know I shouldn't, but there's hardly any odor to this resin at all. No. Very, very little, if any, which is a good thing probably. Okay. So we're going to pour some resin in. I didn't read, let me just see if it tells me in the manual here how much those level lines indicate, which doesn't really matter, but I'm just curious. Okay, so the top line is 285 mil, the next line is 225 mil, the next line after that is 170, and then 140. So that gives a pretty good indicator, but I'm just going to put enough in to do a test print here. Don't eat after expiration date, okay. Okay, so we're going to slowly pour some resin in here. I haven't screwed the vat down yet, so, oh, and there's not that many bubbles in this at all. We'll just go about half the bottle. Should be plenty. I'll wipe off this excess off the lip. And I know I've got to dispose of this properly, and I will. I've got an empty box down below me here, just for my resin, and I'll make sure that I cure all that. And we'll put the bottle back on. Now, I'm just going to take this over here, and I'm going to warm it up a little bit. There we go. So I've put this, I've got this bed warmed up just to 30 Celsius. So it's not too hot that it's going to melt the screen or do any damage to anything, but I'm just going to leave it on there for 5 or 10 minutes and let that resin warm up a little bit. So, yeah. Vaping resin. Hey, Radioactive Scale RC, good to see ya. So you go 1/2 to 3/4 ounce. One, you'll see how much area the build plate takes up, more resin, cooler screen. Okay. Okay. Never fill over the top line or it'll overflow. That's good advice. I am not near the top line. I'm about halfway, half of what it would take based on the lines. I need some more counter space in my studio here. I'm running out of place to put printers, and I'm running out of place to put stuff. So I'm going to, while I let that warm up a little, I want to run into the slicer. And I'm going to be test printing a Bernie. So I didn't make the sign in the back, you're meaning this sign right here, the digital one? No, I did not. I bought this sign, I bought this digital sign for my full-time business. Landlord would not let me use it, so it was sitting in my storage area forever. So I decided to bring it home and bring it here. And it looks a whole lot better in real life than it does on a camera. Trust me, it's much clearer and sharper. Hey, an LTMW. So, I'm going to switch screens here. We're going to go to my slicer, lychee slicer. I've got the chat up here. I'm going to watch people because I'm probably going to ask some questions, probably especially to you, Jerry. But according to what I read, I should just be able to slice this thing pretty easy. So let's make sure that this is going to work. I'm going to switch you guys to my screen view. There we go. And then I'm going to open the slicer. There we go. Let me just make sure this is working and that you can hear me on this. Did I have? Yeah, my mic is hooked up to this one. So there we go. Okay. So there we go. I'm just making sure that YouTube catches up to me. And I think we're good. And then I just tested it again there to make sure I had sound. Okay, so now that I'm in here, I'm going to open my model. So I'm going to add it, and I've got Bernie right here. And Bernie's going to come in, open. There we are. Now he's standing up. So I watched Chris Neary's on today's 3D print, and he had basically what he did is he turned Bernie around something like this, basically to allow for as little Z height. So basically, so it's going to be a quicker print if he is as low to the build plate as he can be, and that is probably about as low as he can get to that build plate. Okay, so and then let's see, any lay down. Yeah, that's what I'm doing, laying them down. Now I could lay them down like that. I mean, that's not going to make a huge difference, I don't think, either way. So we'll just sort of stick it like that. So I think it's going to be the quickest print time possible. He's just touching, barely touching the build plate there, but I think once I put the supports on, they're going to raise him up a little. Okay. Now, if I click my support button, I think I'm going to do solid. Now, what happened there? What did I just do? I don't know what I did. I'm going to generate automatic supports. This could just be a screen issue I'm having here. So if I generate automatic supports, there we go. Oh, I see what's going on. I've got the, so 83 supports were added. 5 supports were not placed due to not finding a place to go. 13 island supports added. 1 island support were not placed due to not finding a place to go. 43 supports optimized and 55 bracings added. And he's like that because I got to slide this guy right up for him. There we go. He looks comfy. So this is where it placed supports. Now, I'm assuming I can trust that this is going to work. I'm assuming it's similar to FDM where we have no more than a 45-degree angle. Okay, Chris, you have a good night. But this is the automatic supports generated. So they did lift his tushy off the bed a little bit, so they're going to have that all supported up. And it looks like he's got an acupuncture happening here everywhere, even in his eye. Now, this is yeah, I'm not going to hollow it. I'm going to worry about that after. I don't want to worry about draining and putting holes in right now. I just want to do a, this is actually probably a complicated test print. So now the only other question I have as far as again resin printing is when I zoom in closer to him here, do I need any support under his chin area here? Although it said not to, but I don't think I do because the angles aren't so bad under there. So, and I think they put that little one in his eye to hold the frame of his glasses, but they didn't do anything. It didn't automatically put anything under this one. Now, do I need to add a support under here? So, what do you folks think? Do you think I need to add a support under his eye here? Like maybe right there? Just to sort of go along because they added a support here. Again, I'm not sure completely. Can I just take that off by clicking it? Oh yeah, undo add support. I can just take that off if I want to. Roll the view up. The yellow areas where it needs support. Oh, I see, okay. So wherever it says, wherever it's yellow, it needs support. In other words, underneath where all the yellow was. Okay. Okay. So I should put a support, maybe a couple supports in here, under his leg here. Let's see. So they didn't put it under here for some reason, or do I need it under there? Why didn't it put it under there if it needs it? It seems to, yeah. Slicers are usually right. Yeah, okay. Well, I will, you know what? I'm going to trust the slicer. I'm going to take those ones I put out. I'm just going to do it again. Yeah, I want to just redo it because just to undo any changes I did. And I'm going to trust the slicer. Okay, Jerry, good one. And you've never used this program. Yeah, okay. Well, you know what? This is the way to live and learn. Right, islands need, okay, yeah, makes sense. Okay, well, we're going to go with this. We'll go with this. And just see what happens. Bernie does look comfortable, though. Okay, so it's just giving me down here, it gives me some information if I want to use the Pro version, because it has, I guess you can create different kinds of supports and so forth for the Pro version. So, well, let me just add, I'm going to do one just because. Under the glasses here, and somebody suggested I do a light support, and I'm just going to add one just under the glasses right here. One light support. Let's just see what happens. A lot more than that on your slicer? Okay. Okay, well, yeah, I don't know why. Just it's either going to work or it's going to fail. So, and it's all about the angles. Okay. If we preview how it's going to build. It looks like it should work based on the angles I'm seeing. This is so different than FDM. Well, if this kind of gives me a failure, I'll try Chidubox and see. But I've heard good things about this slicer, so. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. Hey, Travis. And I understand what you're saying there in LTMW. Okay. Okay, well, I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to see this software. Supposedly, the automatically generated supports are what are needed. So let's just see what happens here. And we're going to export. Now, this is going to tell me my times. So I've got to go back. Now, what do I want to export it as? Creality file. Oh, so it must be, Creality. This must be the file I got to export it to as a Creality. Now, here we go. This is telling me that, okay, so a burn-in layer, I don't know what a burn-in layer is. I'm assuming, hey Gary, I'm assuming the burn-in layer is going to be the first layers. So it's giving me 8 first layers, which seems like it's excessive, I don't know. It's giving me a 20-second first layer time. It's giving me 5mm lift after the print and a 50mm per minute lift speed. And normal layers are burning 2 seconds and 7mm lift time and 0.05 layer height. So let's leave it at the defaults. 2-second cure time seems pretty good for this printer. I can't. Does this have the brand resin available in here? Let's see. This was the Elegoo. I have Elegoo in here, and I have, it's called, let's just see if this changed, water washable. Color is ceramic gray. It's got the exact resin in here. So it didn't change much of the, it didn't change any of the burn times, even though I put the right correct resin in. So let's go okay. Okay, so we actually have the exact resin in there. So let's see what happens. So we'll close that off. We'll export slice, we'll export this. And this looks like an ad. Ah, this is what I get for not buying the paid version. I have 11 seconds to go on my ad. I need a USB key in the meantime, so actually I'll put it on the key that came with it. Okay, so we continue, and we're going to save it. I'll just save it to my desktop, and it's called Bundled Up Bernie. Save type as Chi2, okay, which, interesting. And we will, I'm going to call this Bundled Up Bernie Resin. Save. And this is now showing me how it's going to print. 930 layers, looks like. Okay. Let's minimize you. Let's minimize you. On my desktop here somewhere, I should find my file. Let's see. Where did it go? Right there. Okay. Let's go back to this. Okay, so I'm going to put Bernie on the USB stick. I have a port up here I use. There we go. And we will drag him onto this. And we don't have to eject in Windows, which is interesting because you do on a Mac. And let's go back over. So let's first of all grab our warmed up resin. Hopefully it's warmed up a little bit. Oh yeah. Okay, we'll carefully walk it over. We'll set it in. There we go. Okay, yeah, it's definitely warmer. I can feel the sides of the vat have warmed up, so we'll see how well this works. Okay, so we will take my USB stick. Dun, da, da, da. Plug it in, and we're going to go print, and there's Bernie, and go. Here we go. So I'll get ready. I'll put the lid on because I want to keep that as much of that warmth in there as I can. I just want to watch that first layer real quick. There's not much odor from this resin, and I think that's because it's the water washable, and I heard that there's not as much odor in those ones, so yeah, it's not bothering me at all so far. But once it starts exposing and moving and everything, maybe it will, but let's just see. I want to make sure that everything works properly. Then I'll put the lid on and we'll see what happens. Then we can just chit-chat away. There we go, it homed itself. We got a couple beeps happening. Now it's exposing the first layers. So these monochrome printers are supposed to be much quicker than the non-mono printers. I don't understand the technology behind it, but I think just because it's shooting a single color of light through versus shooting an RGB light, so it doesn't need as long an exposure because the actual color of light that has to come through is not mixed in with the other lights. I'm assuming it's something along those lines. So that first layer was, according to the slicer, was going to be a 20-second burn. So we'll see what happens. Now I know I should hear a little bit of a scraping or popping when it comes up. There we go. I don't hear anything, but we'll see. We'll let it go. Let's put this on to keep any of the heat in. Okay. Let's turn that way so you can see that thing working in there. And we're off to the races. So that's obviously not the messy part. Mono screen makes better the light, so the light source can be more powerful. Makes sense. So it's not mono in this limited head of mine means, basically mono to me means single color. So I'm assuming the other screens or the non-mono printers are shining an RGB type of light up to the screen, and out of those lights or it's basically pulling out the UV light out of that mixture of colors, which takes a little longer because you're separating all the other colors, versus a mono, which is just shooting the UV period, I'm assuming. So my limited knowledge. So let's see what happens. Does this tell me how long the print is going to take? That's one thing I didn't look at. Let's go have a look. See what the front of this says. Oh yeah, sure. I need my better glasses. I have a different pair of glasses for looking at the monitors than I do for reading close up, just because I have such good eyesight. No, it's not. I don't see anything on there for how long it's going to take. Although the slicer should have told me. Let's see. They don't shine. The screen blocks the light from UV under it. Oh, I see. Okay. Okay. So for cleanup, I have these Wham Bam silicone mats. And then I also have, I will pull this out after this gets along. I don't know how long this is going to take. So I'm hoping that this prints within, I don't know how long it'll take, but I'm hoping we can see a little bit of on the stream and see how it's progressing, because I know I can pause it and it'll raise the model up, and then I can continue and it'll go down. And I've seen folks do that without too much damage or, things. The slicer might have shown the time to print. Well, let's have a look. Let's go back in. Let's go back in and have a look and see, since this is a new slicer to me. So here's this. Here's the slicer. Oh, there we are. Okay, 3 hours, 26 minutes, 47 seconds, right there, after it finished slicing. Okay, 25 milliliters of resin, which is not much at all. 76 cents US. That was based on $30 per bottle, which is about right. No, I have to check and see. Blue Shot paper towels and spray away glass cleaner for resin, the foaming kind. Okay. But this bottle, I got to check the price on it, but resin's about between 35 and 45 Canadian a bottle, depending on the ones. I had ordered some. Let me just check here. Okay, we're back on here. So I ordered some oh boy, it was the resin that I was told was very good resin. And I was actually surprised I was able to get it into Canada very easy. Let's see. Soriatec. I ordered a couple bottles of Soriatec resin, 1 kilogram gray, ABS-like, fast ABS-like resin, and it was, let's see. You use Soriatec, Jerry? Okay. Hey, Henry Lynn, how are you? Hey, Mark, you're late. That's okay. You didn't miss much. It was the resin printer over here. There's not much of a build to it at all. So, yeah, so Canadian dollars, 2 bottles of Soriatec cost me $79, $80, so $40 a bottle for Soriatec, which from what I've understood is a pretty decent price for Soriatec resin, for resin in general. And I've heard that the Soriatec is a very good resin, so we'll see. Canadian warehouse now. Okay, well, it's coming through. When I went to their website, actually, they actually have. So the color I ordered was their fast gray, and they had one Canadian, Australian, US. So I had to pick the actual one for Canadian, the Canadian resin. So it's either something to do with importing it, or maybe it does come from the Canadian warehouse, etc. So that was kind of interesting. And the reason I'm using this is because this is just all I happen to have on hand, and my Soriatec is arriving according to my tracking on FedEx tomorrow. So, you know, a day late and $1 short, whatever they want to say. But I wanted to try this water washable resin anyways. So now my question is, can I wash? I know it's not necessary, but can I wash my print that is done on a water washable resin? Can I wash it in alcohol? Is it going to make any difference? Is it going to, will it still clean it? Is it going to wreck it? Or do I have to use water? And the reason I ask is because up above here, just in behind here, I have my washing and curing station. I've already got my bucket filled with alcohol. And so if I don't have to drain it and go up and get some water to clean this print, can I just wash it in alcohol? That's a good question. Anybody out there know that? So, but we'll just let this go for a bit. I normally stream for 2 hours. I like to be done by 9 o'clock. So I will stay on here as long as anybody wants to, as long as I have viewers watching. While we watch this guy print right here, look right there on my screen. Yeah, while we watch it print, and yeah, we can just have a chat or whatever you guys like to do, because basically I'm yours till 9 o'clock, as long as you want to hang out with me. You would, but you've never used that resin. Okay, I can't see why it would hurt it. I think going the other way, no. I don't think you could use water to wash a non-water washable resin. I think it's fine in my you know, little pea brain head here. I think it's fine to wash. Personally, I think it's fine to wash water washable resin in isopropyl. It's overkill, but it would still, I think, accomplish the same thing. Kevin Sharp used water washable on a Wonder Woman model, finished and painted it, and then shattered, was never properly cured inside or something. Okay. And you see, that's another thing that I've heard too, Jerry, is that hollowing it out is one thing. I watched one guy that does a lot of resin, and he said he never hollows anything. Okay, the reasoning was, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, hollowing doesn't save any print time. Hollowing saves resin. So print time, layer by layer by layer, it doesn't matter whether it's hollow or not, it still has to print X number of layers. But hollowing on a larger model, yes, is going to save resin, but then there is the risk, is the argument I heard, there is the risk that if you don't get all that resin cleaned out properly inside, that yes, over time, that will cause the model to crack. Versus doing a solid print, and really all you're worried about cleaning is the outer portion of that model, because, and that was my other question, is if you have a solid model, like Bernie here is going to be printing solid. So when you cure him, the light is only going to penetrate so far into the solid model, I would think. But then again, inside you could stick a little UV light up the hole and solidify or cure the inside of the model. But if you haven't washed all the, uncured or the resin out after the print, I mean, so that's sort of where I'm sort of wondering what the advantages and disadvantages are of hollowing out the models. Let's see. Your experiments with water washable led to split models. You hollowed them, but you didn't like that you ended up with lots of contaminated water to dispose of properly, not down the drain. Oh, I see, okay. You hollow bigger stuff because it saves weight. More weight pulls off the supports. Okay, good point, good point. Jerry, go from ultrasonic cleaner with mean green, then IPA in a pickle jar, and then rinse in water and dry and cure. Okay. It saves resin, just saves resin. Yeah, and what NLTMW makes sense there, because if you have a heavier model, and if you don't, unless you want to use bigger supports, then you've got an issue with the weight of the model on the supports. Although the model is, oh, I see, you could pull the supports off, yes. Yeah, and that makes sense, Jerry. You don't print solid because fixed income and it's waste of money. I agree. Good point. You've been listening or working on a project, learning a lot about resin through you. Well, you're learning a lot about resin through everybody else, because I'm brand new to resin, so that's sort of the idea of my channel, is like, let's all learn together. So I'm glad you're learning something, though, because I am as well. I think a lot of it is common sense when you sort of understand the basic foundation of how the resin's going to work. So, yeah. Nah, not too close to my mouth, but there's no resin on these. I haven't actually physically touched any resin yet, so I actually don't need these on right now. I feel odd having these on. I got tons and tons and tons of gloves. So, when you FDM print, whatnot, print 100% infill instead of 4 or 5%. No. See, and good point. But then FDM printing with that infill is going to take a lot longer. So there are some models FDM that I would print with higher infill, just for strength and everything. But it's a trade-off between strength and time. Whereas on resin, 100% infill, 5% infill, hollowed, whatever. There's no difference in time, so it's as you said, it's maybe a matter of budget. So, oh, and with the didn't like the resin smell. With this resin I'm using so far, I mean, this bottle, when I took the lid off, and I'm not going to smell it too much, but I don't. Very little odor from that at all, and I think it's something to do with being water washable. So no, I've got no sense of any smell coming off that. Mind you, this printer does have a built-in carbon filter, charcoal, whatever they call, for helping cut down on the odor. So you clean the sink and toilet with acid and bleach. A tiny bit of resin will hurt nothing. Yeah, those toilet bowl cleaners are probably more corrosive and aggressive to the environment than any resin would ever be. So FDM needs infill to support the layers above it. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Resin's kind of opposite, isn't it? Because you're printing upside down. You have to hollow resin prints or the resin on the inside won't cure completely. I've heard so many different debates about that. That makes sense because your curing light's not going to penetrate your solid model. But then again, depending on the complexity of your model, your curing light's not going to penetrate the inside of a hollow model everywhere as well, right? So I don't know, depending on, you know, it's sort of it's a science thing, and yeah. How strong are resin prints? What I've heard it depends on the kind of resin you can get. This resin is, as they say here, this is an ABS-like resin. So I would assume that because it's ABS-like, that it would give you the strength of an ABS-type filament. But again, as I said, I'm new to this, just learning, but we'll find out. So, and I think it depends on how fine the parts are and how tiny the parts are. A solid resin is cured layer by layer. Yeah, makes sense. When you hollow it, the software generates inside supports as well. Oh, it does. Harder to find cure, harder to do a final cure with a maze of supports inside, even with a tiny LED bulb. Yeah, okay. Okay, I didn't know. Yeah, it makes sense that it would put tiny supports inside as well, doesn't it? Resin is generally, gravity is pulling your print off the build surface. Supports take time to learn. Okay. Okay, Jerry, thank you for popping in. I appreciate the advice. I'll let you know how this turns out. We'll see what time this finishes, and I'll pop on one of your streams this week, and I'll bring the model. I'll show you exactly what happens with it. I'll probably do a video about it as well. But thank you for coming by, Jerry. I do appreciate it, as always. Mark, after rubber rejuvenator, most smells are mild. Yeah, what Mark's referring to is him and I go back a long ways from the offset printing business, and one of the strongest chemicals was called a rubber rejuvenator. It actually pretty much ate through rubber eventually, and it had one of the strongest odors you could ever smell. And being a former press operator, smell of chemicals is really, I think I'm brain dead because of half of the chemicals I've smelled. So, yep. You've used your tanning bed to cure prints? Well, of course. That's a smart idea. That's a smart idea. How many Bernies do I have? How many Bernies do you see, Ryan? Well, let me show you. Let me show off the Bernies while I'm here. We're talking, so let me show you what I've done here. And this is going to be sort of a review of a couple printers. So I started out. Here he is here. I lucked out on this thing in a way. So let me get the close-up camera here for you guys. Is he going to show up fine on this orange background? He might. Let's wait and let's just see. He will. Okay, let me try and keep up with the chat here too. Okay, so here's Bernie. Let me get close to him. So I started out positive that when I printed Bernie on one of my FDM printers, that he wasn't going to turn out good at all. So, are you going to focus for me? You know what? I think I'm going to need... There we are. But so this Bernie was printed. I printed this last week, and I'm going to try and get as close as I can. If we look at the detail on the back, there we go. This was printed on my Creality CR6 SE. So he turned out, considering it's an FDM, but mind you, I printed him at 0.12 millimeter layers. Okay, so the details are there. Look at the the mittens. Details in the wrinkles in his jacket, in his hair. Where it lacked a little bit, if it'll focus there for us, the glasses were a little bit rough around the edges. Sorry guys, this is just, there we go. So the glasses are a little bit rough around the edges, but considering that those glasses frames were full of support material, and I very carefully removed the support material, and a lot of those bumps are because of the support material. That is not bad. There was a bit of support material under his chin, and then the pants right down to the shoes. The detail in the shoes, so we didn't quite get all the stitching that was put into these shoes down here by Chelsea. But man, considering that is an FDM printer, that is not bad at all. And that was the CR6 SE. And then the chair, I also printed, that was a 0.4 nozzle 3D printing Viking, yes, 0.4 nozzle. The chair I ran on the same printer after the fact. Now you can imagine, though, I'm going to show you a picture after, but you can imagine the support. This chair printed just like this. So you can imagine the supports that this thing needed. Now you'll notice on one part of the chair, or you won't, right here, there's a little crack. Now this, because of the way this printed, these legs are very, very prone to snapping because of the way this filament printed. Now you can see the bottom of the chair was full of supports. The whole thing was full of supports, but considering, and again, that was a 0.12 layer height on the CR6 SE with a 0.4 millimeter nozzle. This was the Arion filament. Yeah, there's another spot where the chair cracked right there. You can see that crack line where I had to glue it. But if you saw all the supports I had to pull out of this thing, wow. And I'll show you a picture of that in a minute. So yeah, that's the chair, and this is the first Bernie. So then I went ahead, let's see this one. And I ran this Bernie on the Ender 3 V2 with a silk filament, silk silver filament. So this Bernie was run on the Creality Ender 3 V2, same layer height, 0.12, 0.4 millimeter nozzle, just the only difference was the printer. And I mean, wow, that is a great print off of that printer. So very capable printers, both of them. And again, in this one, where it lacked was in the glasses again. But considering, I'm going to show you a picture of the supports I had to pull off, but not bad at all. All the detail in the mittens and so forth. The layer lines are very minimal, again, because of the height I printed at. These were 9-hour prints. I'm sure a couple of you are asking. They were 9-hour prints. Then, here, lay down, Bernie. Bernie's having a nap in behind here. He's spooning himself. That is a clean print for filament, isn't it? Yes. Your Bernie didn't get a chair. He just sits on the edge of the desk. Yeah, most of mine are as well. What temp and speed for your silk silver? Okay, so a couple questions there. So I used, for the silk silver, I was using basically a standard Creality Ender 3 V2, profile. I believe it was 60 millimeters a second for my base speed. I sliced it in Simplify 3D, and I was using 210 degrees and 65 degrees on the bed for the silk silver. And the brand of silk silver, Ethan or Marcus, is that's the Arion silk. That's the only silk filaments I use is the Arion. It's because I find them to be excellent. I haven't had an issue with them. And you can see over on my shelf over here, all those boxes on the top are Arion silk filaments. And there's a couple on the bottom below my Prusa mints here, but all Arion silk filaments. So, yeah. Hello 3D Silk. I haven't heard of that one. Does it work any good? Is it good? And then, so I did another, I put Bernie somewhere else, and I'm trying to think, oh, right here. This was another Bernie, but this was on a, just a different silk filament, Ender 3 V2 as well. Oh, here we go, close up. Ender 3 V2 as well, just a little different. I believe this was a silk, a gray. This is a PLA Plus gray from Arion. So on the Ender 3 V2, and that was a different one. So basically these two guys both printed on the different printers, Ender 3 V2s, one on one and one on the other. And one of them, I forget which one, I broke his ankle taking the supports off. I think it was this one that I broke the ankle right here taking the support off. Yeah, it's got actually it's strong on there now, but I use I have a really good adhesive for gluing PLA, and basically that ankle is going to be stronger than it ever was. It wouldn't break in the same place with that adhesive I used. Filaments.ca. Okay, I buy a lot from filaments.ca as well. And then last night I decided to give Bernie a shot on the Mingda Rock 3. He's a little big for the chair because I ran him at 200%. So let me get this camera up a little higher. There we go. This is with this is another Arion silk filament. This is at 200%, so you're going to see a lot more issues with them, but this one I also did at a 0.2 layer height. So it's not as good and smooth because of the layer height, and again being on the Mingda Rock 3 printer, so you can see, like in the knee, you can see those layer lines a lot more. This is almost too shiny a filament to get a decent print out of this, but again, it did the job, and it's not bad overall. The only thing with this is when I poor Bernie has a broken ankle because pulling those supports off, the supports on that were not good. These were Cura supports. The Mingda is using a Cura based slicer until I come up with something I can use on Simplify 3D. So these were hard supports to pull off. So I broke poor Bernie's ankle there. He's sleeping because of the pain. So yeah. So those are the Bernies I've run so far. Right there. So we'll see what happens. Now, I was going to show you. I was going to show you guys. Let's go back here. Let me just check. Do them in the ANET A8 Plus and see how it goes. Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to see that, Viking, for sure. Yeah, those are beautiful filaments. I think that one, though, I think this one here in the back, this guy here, I think that's just too shiny because you just kind of lose the detail. And really, this is a model that deserves painting. Like Jerry is doing an excellent job painting his resin printed ones. So, but that's just too shiny a filament for what that model is, I think. So, over extruded a bit, it is. Yes, I agree. Try Cura tree support. Yeah, I just use just the basic supports that were there, and I just wanted to get it off and just see how it would work and print it. I was going to do a 400% one, a big one, but I didn't want to take the time and tie up the printer. I had to clear the desk off here to get this resin out tonight. So, so let's see if I can find. I may just have to show you on the phone here, but I'll show you what the supports look like on those prints before I peeled them off. I actually have a video. I just haven't sent it to that part of the phone yet, or I haven't sent it for editing yet and putting a stream on it. But I'm going to do a stream about it. But the supports, this is on the Ender 3 V2. So let's see if this camera will focus on this. So you can sort of see it. So basically, that is it's sitting on the print bed after it was done. So those are the supports that basically printed on that Ender 3 V2 of Bernie. Actually, that's a picture of him in the chair. So there's the supports from the side, supports from the front, right up to the eyes. So that's why it was very fragile pulling those supports off those glasses without breaking the glasses. So, and then there it is from the other side. Yeah, with those supports. So that was a lot of support. And then also on the, let's see if I have the chair. Because the chair took a lot of supports as well. Did I get a picture of the chair? I think I did. There it is there. So there's the chair printed, and it was, again, very full of supports. There's a quick video of the chair printing. I just did a time-lapse video with my phone. But yeah, so the chair had supports front, back, underneath, in between the things on the back. So that's why you can imagine how difficult it was to get those supports out without snapping those fragile legs, because the way the print was, you know, going up. In a perfect world, you're not going to print those legs in that orientation. But yeah, so this was me. This is a video of me removing those chair supports. So you'll see that I had to actually be very careful, oops, about removing those supports. Yeah, tree supports would have been better, but I was just more so, hi Richard, by the way. I was just wanting to get that done as a quick thing last night, just to see how good a job that the Rock 3 did print that. But I would definitely use tree supports in the future, for this future. But yeah, and so these did come off, but those legs, and I don't think I break one in this. Maybe I do break a leg in this getting these supports off. But yeah, anyways, lesson learned. And you know, one of those rookie mistakes of not using the kind of supports I should have. But hey, it worked. Ended up getting a pretty decent looking chair out of it. So yeah, again, that's just me removing those supports. But that's for a future video. So that I'll be putting on the channel. Yeah. But no, I was really, really impressed with the job that all three of those printers did. The Rock 3 from Mingda, the CR6SE, and especially the Ender 3 V2. I mean, my goodness, this print from the Ender 3 V2 it's beautiful. I mean, that is great. So, other than the broken ankle I gave him, but hey, you know, that's not bad at all considering. So, and I could have gone down to 0.1 millimeter layer height instead of 0.12, but it's a whole lot better than if I'd have gone to 0.4. 0.2, I mean. So, yeah. You experienced a horrible catastrophic failure due to your own stupidity in the process of doing some maintenance on your hot end. You accidentally stuck a wrench on the hot end fan busting. Don't you hate that? 3D printing new fan blades and they worked amazing. Oh, cool. Chelsea did a great job on that model. I mean, the detail in it. I'm excited to see the detail in this resin print. What happens with it. So, yeah. So that was my Bernie week, getting all these Bernie prints ready. So, but he's been pretty popular. I got to fix his broken ankle on this one, and yeah. So for now, Bernie can sit back up here, quietly sit there and mend his broken bones. I guess I can turn this printer off now. I don't need that heat bed on anymore. There you go, Burns. Sit on top of my failed snowman. Where did I get the Bernie file? Yeah, Fangs. Yeah. I don't have the URL right now. But somebody in chat will definitely have the URL. I'll see if I can locate it and post it here. What was it called? The site? Let's have a look. Doesn't Prusa Slicer have tree supports yet? Wow, I'm surprised. They're usually out ahead of the game, or out, you know, they're not usually too far behind on some of this stuff. You got it? Good. Good. I just found it too, Richard. Yeah. Oh, they have a cartoon one as well. I just noticed that. I didn't notice that one before. Cartoon bundled up Bernie as well. Oh, that's pretty cool. Let's see. Here, I'll just share this with you guys while I'm doing this. Here we go. Oh, 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 oh. There we go. Yeah. So, cartoon version of them as well. That's cute. Not as much detail, but you don't need as much detail in a cartoon version. Those glasses are tighter to the face, so yeah, it's pretty cool. And a cartoon Bernie chair. Aw, that is so cute. Look at that little cartoon chair she made. Wow. I like that. And then then the original bundled up Bernie. There's Bernie. Man, she put a lot of work and detail into this. Incredible. Like, look at the detail in the mittens. You know, and then in the eyes, right down to the stitching in the mask. You know, that's incredible. And then also she did right down to the stitching in the shoes. So I'm assuming that's going to show up in the resin print, obviously a little better than it did in the FDM print, but wow, that's pretty incredible. And then there's the chair. So yeah, very cool. Yeah, cartoon's more FDM friendly for sure. Won't let you send the link? Oh, let me try and see. Let's see if I can put the link to that. It's just going to be on the first page. It's on the first page of things. See if it'll let me post this link for you guys. There you go. There's the link to Bernie and things. Yeah, I bet. No kidding. That was pretty quick. I guess they were under a time crunch for his video on time. Yeah, I think YouTube's funny about posting links in chat. I can. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, still printing. I can hear it ripping off the FEP screen, so that's good. It means that something's going right. Another half hour, and just before I end the stream, I'll pop the cover off, do a bit of a pause, and we'll have a look and see how the print is coming along. I did sign up on Thangs for an account, but it didn't cost to sign up for the account, and I think you do because some of the models do have a price associated with them. So you have the stream up for chat on your phone and for a video on your PC, so you see the chat in two locations. Okay. I've lost my chat window. There we go. Much better. Yeah, I finally got that. For those of you that were on my stream last week, I was having issues with getting my one monitor to work with my new PC here. And it ended up being a bad cable. It was the HDMI to, I can never remember the DisplayPort. HDMI to DisplayPort cable, so HDMI plug on one end, DisplayPort on the other. I overthought the problem, and it turned out I went back to Memory Express here, and they gave me a new cable to try. Worked perfectly, brought the other one back, got my money back. So it was just a simple matter of a bad cable. Is Thang totally free? I don't know. I thought I saw, maybe it is. I could be mistaking it for another site. my mistake if I did, but it probably is. I don't necessarily know. Let me just see. Yeah, it probably is. I could be mistaking it for. There's a couple other sites that I'm on where some models are free and some models you have to pay for the STL. So could very well be all free. Let's see. You probably are right. Then I don't know why they would have a login or sign up thing if it's all free, but other than maybe to be notified for any new releases that come along. So yeah. Well, there is a lot of pay to print models. Okay, yeah. I haven't looked through it too much. I just went there to get my Bernie. Yeah, I'm glad I got it worked out too. It was stressful for about a day. The Prusa Mini Fix was great. I don't know if you saw the stream I was on when I told you. Basically what happened was the ambient temperature in my basement was too cold to start the printer. So basically what I have to do, depending on the temperature in my basement, is I have to either take a blow dryer, or what I've been doing is just taking my hand and I basically wrap it around the hot end to raise the hot end above 16 degrees. And once it's above that temperature, works fine. So that whole fix from the get-go, I think that was the issue. But I would have never thought that it was because it was too cold to start heating up. So that's what it was. Some cables get made on Friday afternoons too. Yep. Funny, when I brought that cable back to the store, they opened it up. I hadn't put the little plastic caps back on the end and the twist tie I just left in the bag. They opened it up, wrapped it up nice and neatly, put the caps on the ends, put the 2 twist ties on it, put it back in the bag, and I swear they were preparing it to sell it again to some poor sucker who wouldn't bring it back. I don't know. Anyways, why would they go through all that trouble to send a cable back to the manufacturer? But, oh well. Always go for a Wednesday model. Yes, that's what they should tell us on the box when you open something. It should say this was manufactured and packaged on a whatever day of the week it was. So you can download and 3D print all the parts in the McMaster catalog. Okay. Did Prusa figure that out? It was, yes. The first rep, no, because the first one sent me a new hot end thermistor. Mind you, he did have me go in and take a bunch of readings on the motherboard. So he's based on the resistance and stuff. He sent me a thermistor, and then it printed fine for the first week or two, and then I had that issue again. And then the second rep, I was on chat with him for 2 or 3 times longer, and he finally came back, said, "Go get a blow dryer." So I went and got a blow dryer. He said, "Heat up the hot end," and boom, it worked. So yeah, Prusa did figure that out for me in the long run. 595,000 parts, McMaster car. Okay. Is McMaster part, that's a catalog that you can access through Fusion 360, is it not? That sounds familiar. Let me move this guy over. Let's see if this will see through the cover there. I don't know. How good is this little camera of mine? Let's just see. I won't show you guys till I... There we go. Oh, it's not bad. Let's, there we go. So if I do this, and if I add a second window here, I love this software, by the way. For those of you who've never used it, OBS Studio. I'm going to add my close-up camera, and then I'm going to shrink it down a little bit. There we go. There, and then you guys can have a peek at how that print is going at the same time. Up above through the viewing glass. That's called looking through rose-colored glasses. There we go. And apparently I can, oh, I did, where is it? Right here. I'm taking a chance that this will fit. I found this 2-piece resin vat cover on Thingiverse. So you slide it in and then basically one overlaps the other. And then you stick it on to cover the resin vat and tighten it down. Whoop. There we go. So, because apparently I can leave, as long as I don't have it exposed to UV light, I can leave the resin in that vat indefinitely, supposedly, till I run my next job. I don't have to drain the vat every time. I guess unless there's like a failed print or something on the bottom that I have to scrape off the screen. So, but yeah, so I printed these little things that I got off Thingiverse, so we're going to see how well they work. It was for the LD-002R and LD-002H, so how it can fit both, I don't know. Apparently one's a little bigger, but maybe the vats are the same size, just different size screens, so we'll see. I haven't heard of that person either. Avi? 20 people, we've lost a few. Because it's boring, I know. So, I've got another 20 minutes or so that I'm going to stream for, and we're going to check that print out, and we'll see what happens. So I want to get these Wham Bam, I want to get this Wham Bam flex plate on here. And I don't, Jerry told me that I'd probably have to print a spacer to go underneath the sensor that tells the Z height. But I don't get it, because when you level the bed, you loosen it, and there's lots of play to have something with this little thickness on there. So I don't understand why I'd need a spacer, but I'm going to investigate that to make sure I don't wreck anything prior to putting this on. So I have, I don't know why I would have ordered 2, maybe a spare, but I have 2 build plates and 2 magnetic bases. They weren't expensive at all because I bought them directly off Creality in China. So, but yeah, I'll get them put on one day here. See what happens. Officially, there is an age factor to resin, but you haven't noticed it. I have extra vats for Mars's and leave them sitting with covers for months, maybe a year for a couple so far. Wow, okay, well, good to know, yeah. Well, they put an expiry date on the bottle. I mean, this bottle, P, I imagine prepare date 2020, June 23rd, expiry 2021, June 24th, so 1 year. But my opinion, if it works, it works. I don't know why the expiry date. It's not being exposed to any UV, being in these dark bottles. So, and the other thing, somebody had mentioned earlier about otherwise you might drive the plate into the screen. But if it levels, I'll get back to that resin. If it levels though. So once I do the leveling, so when I say home and it homes and I've loosened those screws off, and boom, it goes down, because there was enough play in that plate once I loosened those screws to allow for that thickness of the magnet, no problem, and the plate. So if I leveled it using that and it was on there, and boom, and then I tightened them up, does that not tell it that boom, that's my starting Z height? I don't get that. It's going to be close, yeah. I would double check anyways. I'd rather err on the side of caution and build a spacer. I mean, probably the same thickness as the build plate. Just what's it going to take me? 5 minutes to print it, right? So I could even resin print it. But Level doesn't adjust to height, only really level. Okay, okay. So if I build a spacer the same thickness as the build plate, so in other words, if I build a spacer this thick and put it under that sensor, I should be safe. I should be fine, I would think. Because that's the thickness I'd be adding to the existing build plate. We will try that. Dwelling into the world of resin. All these things. Leveling is a ball socket. Okay. Yeah, I'll work on that. Maybe that's something I'll do. I've got no more printers to build yet for my next live streams on next week. I'm waiting for my Kyrune to come in. I've got the Kyrune coming in, I got the CR30 coming in, and I've got the, oh, I don't remember the name right off the top of my head of the rubber printer coming in. But those are a little ways away. Kyrune is in the middle of the ocean somewhere right now on a boat. So that's going to be a fun one to do. I've been watching the Facebook groups on that printer, and they're getting some incredible print quality off of this printer. So I'm excited to see how that printer works for me. Richard, all your resin printers are screws to adjust the build plate. Yeah, and that's sort of what I was saying on this one. It's you got the 4 screws to adjust the height of the build plate. So if you throw on one of these extra thickness build plates, as long as there's enough room on that build plate to accommodate, so when you raise or lower it, what's the issue? But I want to obviously be cautious about it and make sure I don't wreck anything. So another king rune? No, it's a not king rune, Kaiwu. Kaiwu? I believe it's called Kaiwu. It was a Kickstarter. I got a couple Kickstarter ones coming in. Richard, who's on here, is going to be, if he's still doing it, I think he is, we're going to be doing the CR30 together. I'd love him to help me with that one, because that's going to be a really interesting and fun build. So Richard, you're committed. Let's see. Well, I'll just check on my phone here because I have my yeah, but it's the Kaiwu. I'm sure it's called the Kaiwu. It's a different looking. It's a really cool looking printer. I like it. I watched a few of the folks that have got the advanced ones on it. So Chiron. I don't think it's the Chiron. Let me just, because I've got some emails on it recently. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, I might have filed it already. You're in for that build? Good. I'm excited to do that build with you. I think that's maybe a little over my pay grade, but yeah, you never know. It doesn't look like a tough build, but then you've got a lot more experience than me in building printers, so I think that little bit of hand holding on that one's not going to be a bad thing. Let's see. So it's called Kaiwu, K-Y-W-O-O. Yeah, so I'll show you that printer that's coming in. It's on a boat right now. I was one of the last backers, well, the Canadian backers were one of the last ones to be shipped. Cambrian is thank you, Mark, Cambrian is the rubber printer. And that's not going to be for a while. So let me switch you guys to this one. Ooh, I like that view when I switch that. It's like, woohoo, you can see all my OBS stuff here. But then we're going to go to this screen, and then we'll go to Kaiwu. KYWOO3D. So this one. So that's the Kaiwu I got coming in right here. There's the Tycoon and the Tycoon Max, and I've got the Tycoon coming in, this guy right here. I did not pay even close to that amount on Kickstarter. This is US dollars. So, yeah. So I'm excited. This is kind of a different kind of printer. They went through some adjustments. I know they changed the spool holder based on the YouTubers' reviews, such as Neri's, and I believe Joel even got one of these. They changed, a few things like the knob here, but it's a pretty good. It's a linear rail system, XYZ linear rails. So yeah, excited to get this one in and give it a shot. And as I say, the Facebook groups I've been watching on this printer are giving it excellent reviews, and they're coming up with some really, really nice looking prints from it. So yeah, it's going to be exciting to try that, and it's going to be different. It looks kind of big, but hey, and it comes with a built-in Raspberry Pi camera that I can add on. It's got a few different add-ons that I got with the Kickstarter campaign. So ATM, it comes with an ATM. Yes. Yeah, you put your card in that side slot there, right? So. Yeah, it's a neat looking printer. I've heard a few things about the inside, about the cable management, about the way the cables are going into the power supply, that it doesn't have that little plastic thing that covers the things. But I think they've made a lot of upgrades since the initial reviews when they released them to the big channels, the big boys on the channels. So I think they've made a lot of improvements on that. So I like the Kickstarters. I like taking chances on them like I did with the CR30 because of the price. I mean, I got 55% off retail price on that one. What other Kickstarters have I got? I've gotten a few. I've done a bunch of Kickstarter stuff in the past not related to 3D, and it's usually all pretty good. And I've only been burned twice on crowdfunding things, and those weren't big ticket items. It was like a $40 and $50 thing, and the other one might have been an $80 or $90 thing that didn't come to fruition. But these 3D printer ones, so far, I've heard there were some that were not good, that were disappointed a lot of people. But so far, I've been lucky with the ones that I've backed. So yeah. Well, we got about another 10 minutes to go, and we'll give this printer a pause and see how it's doing, and then we will end the stream, and I will continue printing, and I'll follow up this week on how this print looks. So I don't want to have you guys hanging on for another 2 hours just to see a bundled up Bernie resin print. So let's see the other. No, it's just those three coming up. So, yeah. I've got to learn to paint my 3D prints. So I'm looking forward to Richard, who's on the channel with the first layer. They're going to be adding some finishing tutorial videos to their upcoming 2021 program, I believe. So I'm excited to learn some finishing techniques from them. Jerry is a great resource for finishing resin prints. Man, I wish I could paint like him. I really do. Okay, Marcus, thank you for popping in. I appreciate it. He is being printed on his back, yes. Yep, he's in a very relaxed mode as he goes through his spa. So it's like the water torture. We just keep dipping him in, letting him out to have a breath, and dipping him in. Thanks for popping in, Marcus. Yes, we are, Richard says. Yep, I'm excited to learn because I've got, I mean, to me, 3D printing is great. if you're doing prototyping, if you're doing practical parts for equipment, whatever. But when you're doing models like this Bernie, or you're doing, I've got a little, I think it's one of the Power Ranger swords. It's about yay long when it's put together. It's sitting in a bin over here, and it's just all white parts, and I have no clue how to finish it. So I'm looking forward to getting some tips and tricks from the first layer on that, because I really like to finish it and give it to our little guy, because he's excited. He's asking me about every week. He says, "Is my sword ready?" I said, "Not yet. No, I have to learn what I'm doing to finish it and make it look pretty." So we'll see. Okay, Richard, I will call you tomorrow. Thank you for popping into the stream. I appreciate it very much. Say hi to Jerry for me, and you guys have a good night. Oh. So let's, we're getting close to wind down time. Let's just see if I pause. Do I dare pause this, or am I going to be disappointed? At least my mic's not dying on me tonight. I picked up a different microphone, and I think it's going to last longer because the actual receiver is USB-C. So ooh, there we go. I'm dependent on the battery in this guy, but so far so good. And in my initial tests, the sound has been excellent. So let's just have a look at this. I'm going to back this up a little. Pop this off. I smell it a little bit, but it's not strong at all. And that resin is definitely thinned out from heating that vat up. So let's just go around. I'm just going to put this on the big camera for you guys. There we go. And let's just see what this looks like if I pause it and then start it again. So let's come around here. We're going to pause. Let's just make sure let's just make sure it's all working. And I see a print. So I think that's a good sign. How high does it raise when it pauses? So there we go. Let's look underneath there. There we go. So we are definitely getting print adhesion to the bed and so forth. So it's looking good. So let's hit resume. And goodbye, Bernie. Back to your water torture test. There you go. And we'll put the cover back on. And continue on his way. Have I told you guys how much I love this camera? Just ask Tripod's Garage how much he loves this camera. There we go. So it looks like it's going really good. I'm excited about that. And what do you say, John? Most deadly gases have no scent, but proceed. If you knew, anyways, the business I'm in, I've been in the printing business most of my life, and I'm still alive, and I have smelled some and been around inks, solvents, rejuvenators, you name it. I'm still breathing. I don't know about my brain cells, but I'm still breathing. So now I'll find out if there's any 405 UV light in my room. I don't think so. It's all LED. So I don't think so, but we'll see. I saw, whose stream was it? It was Neary's stream last week where he printed a Bernie in this exact same printer without the cover on for the entire print, and it worked fine. So mustard gas fears me. Yes. Bring it on. Bring it on. Yep. So I'm going to let this print run overnight, and hopefully in the morning I come up and I have a nice Bernie. I was going to bring this out. Let me just go grab this. I was going to bring it out for you guys that haven't seen it. I'm going to move this camera out of the way because there won't be any room. Let's just get that in the behind. There we go. Because there won't be any room if I leave this camera here. And let's move these. I have these, as you saw earlier, I have these Wham Bam silicone mats for handling the resin. And I'm just going to go over here to the very dark depths of my studio where no man dares dwell, and bring this out, because this is what I'll use tomorrow. This is the Anycubic cure and washing station. So that I got last time I bought a resin printer that lasted one test print and then it went back. So this is what I will use to cure and wash the prints. So let's get you out of the way. I need a bigger bench here, or another bench. Don't tell my wife that, because she'll have something to say about it. But yeah, this is pretty cool. It comes with the basket, all the parts for hanging the plate in the basket and curing and washing it. And then, you know, a little table down here to rotate to when the lights come on to cure the model. And then, of course, I have the up here. There it is. This is what I was talking about before. I have this vat. This is full of isopropyl alcohol. So right now we have 3,000 milliliters, so 3 liters of IPA in here to use on this cure station. So, and it's got the little spinner on the bottom. And I also have, in another part of my studio here, there we are, I also have a ultrasonic cleaner. And I never thought until Jerry mentioned it to use the ultrasonic cleaner to clean the models in. Number one, won't need as much alcohol. I mean, for a little lay down Bernie, this is kind of overkill. So with the ultrasonic cleaner, I can probably get away with a third or a quarter of this amount of IPA, and then just use this to cure him. So I'll be pulling out that ultrasonic cleaner as well, and giving it some use. But yeah, so this I got on sale on Black Friday for 159, I want to say, or 129 Canadian dollars. So I couldn't turn that down. So let's just get rid of this. I think come the time to finish this model, and when he's done, I'll just use water, since it is water washable resin. So deep fry some onion rings. Yes, I could do that. So question again, for those of you who know resin, I'm going to let this guy here, I'm going to let this run overnight. I get up for work early in the morning, so this thing's going to finish overnight. Can I leave Bernie hanging there all day tomorrow and wash him when I get home tomorrow? As long as he's in here blocked from any potential UV light. Is it okay to leave him and come home several hours later and clean him? Is that fine? Has anybody done that before? So wash and cure for $125. Nice. That's a good price. Water and a soft medium toothbrush. Yeah. Well, and I've also been told that these brushes that came with the resin, I'm trying to find where I put it, but the resin came with a brush. Oh, these ones here. This came with the printer, and then this came with the bottle of resin that I can use this to also clean it out. So you've left things for a few days. Okay, good, and it's been fine. Now, another question. Again, newbie questions because I'm new to resin. Supports. Do I peel the supports off before or after curing? I know I leave them on to wash, but do I peel supports off before I cure them, or after the model, or after I cure the model? And the last time I printed one, which was the only one I've ever printed, I over-cured it. I went way too long in the curing machine, so I think I only needed about 3 minutes in this thing. Okay, same as sitting in the vat. Okay. Kid-size battery toothbrush. That would work too, because those are soft. Supports come off way better before curing. Okay, good to know. Okay. I've heard both. I've heard arguments for both. I think it depends on how. There was one model I saw printed, a sample model. It was a round, it was a spherical shape, and they pulled the supports off a bit, and it kind of, the resin was a little soft prior to curing. So either way, people in both before after camp for that one. Yeah, I agree. Tomato, potato, tomato, potato. Yeah. Be gentle. I'll be gentle with Bernie. I'll promise not to touch him in any inappropriate areas, and I promise to be gentle pulling the supports off as tushy, for sure. Overcure is really brittle, yeah. And that's the thing is I think I didn't know better. It was the Eiffel Tower I cured, and it turned yellow. It was a clear resin. I cured it so much it turned yellow. But I ran it through, I think, 3 cycles on this because I thought, well, the more curing, the stronger it's going to be. Little did I know, the more curing, the brittler it's going to become. So live and learn, right? But that's what I love about you guys putting up with me, is because I make all the mistakes that so you guys don't have to. So yeah, clear resin, did it ever turn yellow? I still have it actually upstairs. So yeah. Anyways, 9 o'clock, right on the nozzle here, guys. So I wish I could stay on longer. Mind you, a lot of people have dropped off now, and I don't blame you, because I'm not going to be able to finish this print tonight on the stream. But I will do a quick update, either live or just post a video of how Bernie turns out. I'll take some pictures as he comes off of this to show all the supports. And this is going to give me a good idea whether Lychee is a decent slicing software, if it did a good job or not. So we'll see how this all works out, and it's quite exciting. And I'll actually probably video me doing my cleanup, just because I think that's the fun part. But I've got a pretty good, I'm confident that I should be able to clean this up pretty reasonably easy. So you guys all have a good night. Thank you everybody who joined me here. Oh, I thought you were gone, Marcus. Bernie won't need any curing because he has that mask on. He's protected from the curing. It'll cure everything but his mouth. Anyways, thank you everybody for joining me. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please do down below here. I appreciate everybody coming in. You guys are so good. You guys are regulars and you come by every week, and I really appreciate that. I thank you, everybody who's still on here. Jerry, you're not on here anymore, but I thank you for all your shout outs today. Richard on the first layer, check him out. Richard, you gave me an excellent shout out, you and Brian today. And I had a bunch of people from your channel subscribe to me today, and I truly appreciate that. So you guys check out the first layer if you haven't, with Richard and Brian. That's an excellent channel. You guys all know Jerry. Jerry does some excellent live interviews and some excellent live streams, chat streams. So do that. Check all those guys out. I will eventually put all these links down in my description once I get a chance to do it. So, but thank you everybody again. Check back. I'm going to do an update on all this. And until next time I see you guys, have a safe week. Everybody stay happy, and we'll talk to you guys later. Much appreciated.